here, and Bob will be reading his statement. So, without further ado, Jack, welcome.
Welcome.
Again, I'll say the same thing. The board.
Can I have a different question?
No. It wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair.
Well, they said all the good stuff already.
The board's the executive and legislative branch of the city. You make all the ordinances, the resolutions, approve the budget, and set the policies for Hot Springs. What are your qualifications that would make you the best city director for position 6?
Okay. Well, I'm Dr. Jack Sternberg. I arrived in Arkansas in 1977 without a penny in my pocket. My wife and I came up here. All I had was my MD degree. We started a group called Oncology Associates. For 3 years, I was doing the associate. The first year, we billed $600,000. By the time that I retired, we were billing $60 million. We started with 3 employees. At the end, we had over 53 employees. In addition, over the time that we've spent in Arkansas, I've said this before, I came to the Lord in 1980. In 1992, I was placed on the board of Jews for Jesus. For the last 10 years, I've been head of their investment committee. I oversee a portfolio of $25 million. I'm on their budget and finance committee, so I oversee the budget. And lastly, personally, in 1987, Marilyn and I went debt-free following biblical principles. We have remained debt-free. I paid not one penny of interest in the last 25 years, and I would believe that I would bring that principle to city government.
Secondly, what would you like to accomplish as a member of the city board?
Well, I think that the others have touched on it. I think that there have been some good directors, but I think there's been a lot of baloney that goes on. And I think you have to bring integrity, common sense, and a feeling of working together, as Richard said. I think that I see the board a little bit differently at times. I am on an oversight board with Jews for Jesus. We look at what the expert is doing. We look at what the director is doing as we would look at the city manager. And I think that part of our job, a big part of our job, is to look at what the experts come up with and see if we agree with what the experts come up with, see if there's bloat in what they come up with, if there's waste in what they come up with, and oversee them, but allow them to be the experts and to do their job.
All right, the question is, roads are the hot topic.
Yeah.
Hot Springs has got to fix their roads. They need repair. So how would you do it? Would you support the half-cent sales tax that returns 30 cents on the dollar? Would you support local funding that gives a dollar for a dollar? Or would you like to create a long-term plan which eliminates unessential spending to repair our roads?
Well, the first thing I do is I bring my shovel and my pickaxe, and I would help the guys just build the roads. You know, we are so overtaxed in Arkansas. I looked it up this afternoon between the sales tax and the property tax and all the taxes. I mean, I think you said yesterday that we're the 13th worst for taxes, and yet 47th worst for growth. Taxes didn't make us have a wonderful economy. I think that's you know, taking or agreeing with a half-cent sales tax is ridiculous. I mean, that would take our sales tax to over 9%. And then you add the hamburger tax to it. I mean, enough is enough already. And then if you're going to get only 30 cents back of every dollar, that's also ridiculous. I mean, now if they gave us back $1.50 for every dollar, I'm for it. I mean, you know. No, so that's ridiculous. And again, the people of Hot Springs, today, I mean, 23% of the folks in Hot Springs live below the poverty line. Every time they have a sales tax, that's a regressive tax on the poor. It's enough already. So yes, the answer is, and it always is, look at the government, see where they're wasting money, stop wasting money, you'll have more money, and then you'll get your roads fixed.
Amen.
Kind of like this guy. He's talking my language. Anyway, I'm gonna ask you a question, okay? And this was actually a question that would be answered by your opponent, but we always give.
By the way, here's my opponent right here.
So I'm going to ask this as if I was asking your opponent for you to rebut this. Okay. So here's the question: The chair. Wait a minute, there was something about that, like the empty chair. Anyway, your ads mentioned business experience. What business do you have, and what is your record with that business?
Well, I think I've also mentioned it already that I grew a business into a $60 million a year business and 53 or more employees. You know, the other thing is I'm just going to brag. I retired at 59 with enough money never to have to work again.
Good.
I mean, and you know, by the grace of God that happened. But you know, business isn't that tough. You follow simple principles. You don't waste money. You treat people fairly. You give them a good product, and people come.
That was his rebuttal to the man that's not there in the chair. But anyway, so now we have time for some questions from the audience. Is there any questions?
Hey, Clay, you can't ask that question again.
I could ask it differently.
You can, okay, you can ask a different one, but I'm just getting
Differently.
EJ question.
Well, just how about regarding your neighbor's property rights? Would you be committed to following the golden rule and not violating your neighbor's property rights?
Well, you know, I think that anybody who is a believer, whether it would be in the Judeo-Christian principles, would always want to follow the golden rule. I think that the problem is that life is a little bit more complicated than just that. I think there are times when there has to be compromise between two people. Life is not black and white. And yet, at the same time, I think you always have to respect the other person. You have to do what you believe to be correct. But you know, as Mayor Carney once said, when I was listening to her on TV, and a man said that to her, you know, Mayor, you have to follow the golden rule. And she looked back at him in love and said, sir, every time we make a decision, somebody's happy and somebody's mad. And that's the problem. You can't please everybody because, you know, if you please or you try to please everybody, you please nobody.
Okay, but the Constitution you would dedefinitely stick by
Well,
always.
I think there is no question that if something is absolutely on constitutional grounds, I mean, yes, I am absolutely, what American doesn't want to be for liberty and freedom and the Constitution and what our forefathers gave us, what a blessing. But it's never exactly simple. That's, you know, that's life.
All right, any more questions? Then Dr. Jackie, you have 1 minute to close.
You know, I always say in my meet and greets that I never imagined running for office. It was never on my radar screen. And it wasn't until a group of people that I highly respected came and asked me to run because they knew that I was a conservative. And I asked them, why in the world are you asking me? And they tickled my ego by saying, well, we see that you are intelligent, you have common sense, you're a man of integrity, you're fearless, you speak with authority. And I said, well, just keep throwing it on, I'll keep running. But one of the things that I've said recently that I came to an epiphany, I love the word epiphany, was that for the first time in my life, after I've spent my entire life going at times against the grain of not being someone who just went along with the crowd, a group of people came to me and said, Jack, we want you to run to be Jack. We don't want you to be somebody you're not. We actually want you with who you are because we know you're going to sit on that board and you will not pander to the people, you will not pander to the board, you will not pander to the city, and you will even at times disagree with the people who put you in power. But you're going to always follow your conscience and do what you believe to be right. And they gave me permission to do that, and that was just indescribable. So thank you.
Now speaking for the prepared statement from Randy Fale.
I do have a statement here from Randy Fale, and so if you will, kind of imagine a fellow a little more chubby and a little older and a little uglier speaking.